Good evening, good evening. How are we all doing? Hope everybody is well. Big up everybody who is joining. Sorry for my lateness. Unfortunately, when you've got kids to deal with, it's hard to be on time. But there you go. It is what it is. And I'm joined today by the man himself, Tom the Gooner. How are we doing, my son? You all right?
I'm all right, Brandon. How about yourself? Everything all right?
Not so bad, not so bad. I nearly had a heart attack midweek during the Benfica game, but there you go. Of course, we're going to discuss that in a little while. And then, of course, we've got a game tomorrow, which is a very, very tough game. And we're going to dive into that as well. But firstly, guys, listen, I've done a preview type, Arsenal type talk thing with Tom once before on Tom's channel. Tom's channel link is in the description, so make sure you go and check that out right about now. And if you don't want to go right now, make sure you do that straight after the video and go and sub to Tom as well. But of course, mate, we've got to dive straight into it. Arsenal Benfica, what did you make of the game?
First of all, thank you for that shout out. I have to be honest. I still think we got out of jail because I actually thought we didn't even play that well again. And what winds me up is our blood pressure had to go high for no reason. Because at the end of the day, why did we give them? Even the first goal in the first leg was a penalty, so another mistake by Arsenal. So and then two more after that. And when it went to 2-1, a part of me thought, yeah, but there's plenty of time to recover. And the second goal, in a way, was like, because it was scored so early. And fair play to Kieran Tierney. Like, I know you can't do this because you've got your captain already. But I would love to see him as captain one day. Honestly, I really would love to see that guy. And then fair play to Saka as well for crossing that ball. That people think that was an easy goal or whatever, but someone who's 19 to put a ball in like that, he could have easily just passed it back to his right back, passed it back in the middle, and just take the easy option. No, he saw Aubameyang. It was actually, I was worried that it was going to be classed as offside as well. But luckily, we did get out of jail, and I'm still thinking we've got a long way. I don't know. I don't think we can win it because I just think we're not good enough, to be honest. And it just worries me that we allowed ourselves to get exploited by Benfica. And I said to you before, Brandon, I watched them a few weeks ago. It was 1-1. And then somebody else I was talking to said they watched them the week before they played Arsenal and it was 0-0. They're not a great team. I mean, they're fourth in the Portuguese league. And let's be honest, Portuguese league compared to the Premier League is completely two different stories. But at least the one thing I can say, our season still keeps going, and at least they showed a little bit of a fight back, a little bit of bottle, instead of just crumbling. Let's wait and see. I mean, I think it's a doable draw. I think Olympiacos last year was accidental freak. I don't even think it was in a way a luck thing because it was two set pieces, obviously crap defending by Arsenal, and then Aubameyang had that last minute chance and he missed it. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen against Olympiacos now. But obviously before that we've got Premier League games, and I've said to you before, I don't want us to think the Premier League is, oh, let's just give up on the Premier League because we can't. I just don't want us to get battered in the Premier League like we did during obviously November, December. And let's be honest, I hate the fact that we lost to Leicester at the beginning of the season because I'm not really a big fan of Leicester in a way because they always seem to turn up against Arsenal. And I've got a feeling they probably will beat us tomorrow just because they didn't even seem to be bothered about the Europa League, to be honest. They took the foot off the pedal, in my opinion. I think they've got their eye on the Champions League qualification instead. What do you think? I mean, like I said, I think we got out of jail massively.
Mate, 100%. We definitely got out of jail massively. If you'd have seen my watch along, you'd have seen my clip just after the second goal went in and Mikel Arteta decided to bring Willian on. I'm surprised I didn't get clipped for that shit, because I was bashing the table. I was throwing shit around. It was like, honestly, like, what are you doing, man? Bringing on this Chelsea agent? Seriously. but it seemed to have worked out in a way. So you got to give the manager credit for that. But I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing Arsenal start games so slow, lethargic. Arteta was talking in his press conference before the game, and he was saying this game is like a cup final. But we didn't turn up like it was a cup final. We turned up as though it was going to be a stroll in the park. Oh, well, it's only Benfica. They was poor in the first leg. We'll eventually get the chance to break them down. They're not going to do nothing to us. And it's kind of embarrassing that they managed to score 3 goals against us over 2 legs, because they was absolutely shocking in the final third. I mean, like Sunday League type football in the final third. Their free kick, though, that was exceptional. No goalkeepers ever saving that. We talk about things, certain decisions when it comes to the manager, especially. And there's a lot of talk saying that Danny Ceballos, he wants to keep him at Arsenal. £25 million, we've been quoted. Mate, I wouldn't pay £2.50 for him after what that geezer did. And I'm not even joking. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. And once again, Bukayo Saka drags us out of a mess. What a player this guy is. What a leader he is as well. He's 19 years old and he's carrying the weight of Arsenal on his shoulders. And a lot of people are giving all the plaudits to Aubameyang because Aubameyang scored 2 goals. Now, I'm a little controversial with it because I will say things like, yes, Aubameyang, you scored 2 goals. Well done, pal. That is what you are there to do anyway.
Yeah.
But as regards to when that second goal went in and you're looking for somebody to take the game by the scruff of the neck now, drag this team out of this mess, Aubameyang's not your guy. Aubameyang is not the guy to do that sort of thing. And it's bad, really, because we pay him such high wages. He should be the man doing that. He is the main man at the club. And instead, we're just lucky we got the likes of Kieran Tierney and Bukayo Saka. Because let's be real, them 2 goals that Aubameyang scored, he ain't missing them. They was on a plate for him, on an absolute platter for him. And I'm glad that we went through. Of course I am. But at the same time, whereas some Arsenal fans tend to get carried away with it. Oh, yes, we're through. Oh, yes, excellent. I will sit there and I will analyse the entire thing. And from my perspective, we didn't deserve to go through. And we're looking at the next round now. As you just said, we've got Olympiacos. They knocked us out last season. How ironic is it that we've just played at their stadium as well and we struggled? And now we've got to go back there again. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Everybody's saying that we've kind of got a favourable tie in a way. I think the players, especially like the likes of Aubameyang, will be hopefully looking for a bit of a revenge after last season. But like you just said, mate, and I reiterate what you just said, I don't feel like we're good enough to win this competition anyway. Even if we go through against Olympiacos, I think that's probably about as far as we can go. But as regards to anything else, I feel like our Premier League season is over. And it's just a case of at least we can extend our season a little bit longer than what it would be. It's still not good enough. But there we go. So what did you make of, as I was just saying, Aubameyang's performance, Saka's performance, Tierney's performance? What did you make of them 3 in particular?
When Kieran Tierney, the day after, I was talking to my brother who lives in Cyprus. I said to him, do you know what I loved about that? It's not the fact that he scored, it's the way he turned around and he was having to go at the players to let's fix up and let's do it. And we've been missing a leader like that for so many years. And I just don't... I mean, in a way, Granit Xhaka, in a way, I've always said it, I don't think quality-wise and technically-wise, he's not that great, but I do like his kind of mentality sometimes, where he does seem like a kind of guy that would actually be a leader, but obviously he messed that up badly last year. Kieran Tierney just looks like a proper leader. He's a good player. What worries me is the fact he's a left back, and yet we're saying that when he's not there, we miss a guy that can attack us. I know the modern day fullback most of the time they turn out to be wingers, never mind just defenders. And look at the game against Man City. We completely ignored Pepe and Bellerin on that side. We kept going down the left, because he's that important. Now, one of my brothers did say to me, but back in the day when we had Perez and Ashley Cole, we used to go down the left all the time. Yeah, but they were quality, and yet we're just bypassing the right back and the right winger. If he feels like they're not good enough, pick somebody else in that position. If you think Bellerin's not good enough, and that's what I was going to say to you, that kind of pissed me off, his team selection. Why does he always pick Bellerin? What? Yeah, but back to your question, sorry, we'll go back into that one.
They're best friends.
Well, yeah, he was talking about that, but yeah, I think to me, Tierney was probably our man of the match just because of his attitude. Actually, maybe not. Maybe Saka actually ahead just because of the quality that guy provides. If he doesn't get picked for the England Euro squad, I just think that's a terrible decision by Southgate. I think he's just really good at the moment. He's in his, like you said, like he's 19, and it just feels like I would love to speak to him and say, do you really feel like the team's on your shoulders sometimes? Because he just pulls us out in so many shit situations. Aubameyang, I'm willing to be honest, I'm not harsh on Aubameyang because at the end of the day, last year, the year before, he has been great. I'm willing to give him a break for this season. But for me, it's more the way, like against Man City, if you're not going to have a shot on target or any chances, it's not your fault. You need someone to create for you. I get that. But then again, is that an easy excuse to make yourself? He just looked like he was laughing against Man City, doing nothing, just strolling about. I like to see him at least try and make something happen, I know he's a goal scorer and everything, but this just I just don't want to be harsh about him because I do think he's a quality player still. Quality as in goal scorer, because like I said to you before, the last time we were on, I said I think as a goal scorer he's fantastic, but as an actual all-round player, he hasn't actually got that much. And then the one thing I will defend him: why do we seem to cross the ball to him when he's not a great header of the ball? And I know he scored a header against obviously Benfica, but that was right on the goal line pretty much. It was a simple header. It's a bit like a tap-in sort of thing. He's not like a Ibrahimovic, Lewandowski, who can do that from a far out distance. So I don't understand why we do that, because we were doing that against Man City as well, even though Man City's defenders are just as tall as what Benfica had. That's the other thing I criticise. There's times when I watch Arteta's teams, and it's a joy to watch sometimes, but then there's the other time, like the best game that could stick in my head was against Spurs when we lost 2-0 the earlier in the season. And he said that it was good to see us penetrate their box. Just because you're crossing in the box doesn't make you, in fact, you're penetrating them. You're doing nothing really. Anyone can do that. Even, Tony Pulis's teams when he was at Stoke can do that. It's not exactly good football. But honestly, I like to say that, don't get me wrong, I know he scored our goals and everything, but I think really the plaudits should go to Saka and Kieran Tierney for Thursday. I think they were two best players on the pitch, to be fair. With Ceballos, I don't even know. I mean, do you think he'll actually buy him, or do you think he won't bother?
You never know with this manager, mate. Honestly, he's handing out new contracts to the likes of Rob Holding. Did we ever think that Rob Holding would get a new contract? Did we ever think that, Granit Xhaka would be begged to stay at Arsenal when he first came in? I'm not sure, mate. I look at it and I just see like this manager has his favourites. This manager certainly, definitely has his favourites. Hector Bellerin's one of them. Granit Xhaka's another. These type of players who just, it doesn't matter what type of performance they put in. They could put in a 2 out of 10 every single week. This manager will still pick them, and I think what's so disappointing about Arteta is when he first came into the job, I remember his first press conference and I was sat there and I was actually quite, engaged in it all. I kind of felt like, do you know what? This guy, the way he's talking, I reckon he could be good for Arsenal, because he was saying he was going to play players based off of merit. He wasn't going to take any shit. He was going to get players out that don't deserve to be at Arsenal. You got to do this, this, and this, and this, and this in order to be in my team. And then in recent times, everything that he said in that first press conference, you're looking at him and you're saying, well, you're a fucking liar, mate. Because if that was the case, You wouldn't be playing Hector Bellerin week in, week out. You wouldn't be playing Granit Xhaka week in, week out. I can understand the Granit Xhaka one a little bit more because we don't necessarily have anybody else who can go in that position. But if you had to tell me you got a choice, you can either play Hector Bellerin or Cedric, it's Cedric all day long. In fact, if you gave me a choice and said it's Hector Bellerin or Gunnosaurus, I put Gunnosaurus in. That's how bad this guy is, seriously. Like, just before that second goal as well, Bellerin kept getting the ball on that right-hand side. And he was one-on-one with their defender. And I kept thinking to myself, look at the space that's in behind him. Knock the ball round him, run into that space and whip a ball in. You know, just like what Tierney does. Every single time this guy picked the ball up, he slowed it down and he either passed it infield or went backwards. And 99% of the time, it was backwards. And that was our problem on Thursday. We had David Luiz, who would take 3 or 4 touches before releasing the ball. Granit Xhaka, exactly the same. It even got to Emil Smith-Rowe. Emil Smith-Rowe is normally a guy who would take one touch, release the ball quickly and try and speed the patterns of play up. Even he was taking more touches than what was needed. And that's the biggest issue with us. We don't move the ball quick enough. And then when you got the like of Hector Bellerin, who does the same thing every single time, the defender on the opposition team knows all they got to do is square him up and he'll pass the ball backwards. He's not going to knock it round him and try and whip a ball in. So I don't know, mate. I mean, there's a lot of rumours about Ceballos for £25 million. You know, the manager brought him back here for a second season on loan, even though if we look at his first season at Arsenal, if we're being real about it, he had a good opening game against Burnley, and then he did nothing. And then after lockdown, he was absolutely exceptional. But again, this season, he's had the odd game where he's been, okay, you're thinking, yeah, all right, now I'm starting to see a little bit of quality from him. And then he turns into Danny's spinning top Ceballos again. And it's like, so inconsistent, it's unreal.
You know, that's the thing, like, with Bellerin, I remember when he first came into the team, he was exciting to watch. Now, I don't know if it's because when you're younger, you're a bit more fearless, you have a bit more, I don't know, just daredevil about him or something. But then, like you just said, like, he won't take anyone on. And I don't know if is it because he's lost his pace from his ACL injury? Is it because he's just not a confident football player anymore? I honestly, and I've always wondered if he left Arsenal, would he actually be any better than he is right now? Or would he even get worse? I mean, I can't understand the obsession that Barcelona seem to have with him. There's always links with him. PSG are always looking into. So he's got some top clubs looking at him, which I don't understand. That's the thing I don't understand about it. Because I just think it's like, because a part of me thinks, all right, we know that Bellerin, as for someone who's going to attack, his balls into the box is not that great. You've got, but Pepe's there, or whoever's joining him, Saka's there. Is it really fair on them two, just because we don't trust our right back? We keep going down the left all the time with Kieran Tierney. And I tell you what I don't get with this new team selection with him picking Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe. It's clear it doesn't work on the left. Why does he? I just don't think it's fair on Emil Smith to not play in his favourite position, which is obviously through the middle. Now, I get he wants to give Odegaard a chance because he's only here for a few months before he goes back to Madrid. But what about the Pepe situation? Why is he taking him out of the team and just bombed him out completely? I mean, I don't even think, he didn't even come on against Benfica on Thursday. Neither did Martinelli. There's two players right there. I mean, all right, I'm more excited about Martinelli playing than I am Pepe because there's times Pepe actually winds a lot of people up, including myself. And he goes and picks Emil Smith-Rowe to be our left winger. I just don't understand that when he's just cut inside all the time. And you're right as well. What I don't get during that period when we were, we won, what was it, 5 games in a row. We had some draws as well. It was actually exciting to watch us because we were playing quite quick football, release and go, one touch football, go, go, go. And then now it's gone back to this, like you said, slow. Everyone takes too many touches. They pass it. It's not the right pass. It's overhit. It's just, and that's the thing I don't understand. What is he trying to achieve sometimes? Does he really want us to play exciting football? Or is it as soon as we've lost a few games, they seem to lose their confidence as well? I mean, a lot of my friends, like, people I work with, they always say, I don't understand why Arsenal are so poor. And I said, no, I know. It's because it's just not consistent enough. Simple as that. They go on a little bit of a run. As soon as something bad happens, they lose, I don't know, their mental strength, I suppose. And we are, let's be honest, for the last few years, we've been a cup team. That's what we have. We're good. I mean, in a way, that's the only thing that keeps me a bit of optimism with the Europa League, because we've won the FA Cup so many times in knockout football situations. So maybe we have a chance. But in the league, I can't remember Arsenal being this bad ever. And I don't think it's a quick fix either. I think he needs to realise that it's going to take... And to be fair, he puts pressure on himself, Brandon, because he even said it. 8th in the FA Cup is not what Arsenal should be doing. And he's gone worse. Mm. And I bet you were doing this. In my head, I was thinking when we were 2-2, 2-1 down, I was thinking, how's he going to swing this? How's he going to come out and say something that, fans are going to back him? Because surely after that, they would have been questioning him, thinking, is he really the right? I mean, I still think, even now, I've said to you, I'm 50-50 on the guy. And even now, I think, does he really deserve, our patience when we're 10th or 11th in the league, whatever it is? We don't seem to play exciting football sometimes. I'm actually worried about tomorrow because, like I said, I just think that Leicester are a better team. And like I said, I just don't want us to get absolutely battered in the league. I still want us to at least try and make an effort to try and get into top 6, at least trying to improve on last season, because this is just embarrassing, to be honest. I never thought I would see us build this brand new stadium and for us to be in the 11th position. That's just bad. Exactly. And I was going to ask you, actually, with Leicester and Arsenal, because there's a lot of Arsenal fans that say this, who's actually the bigger club right now, in a way?
Well,
I mean, forget the history. Right now, they've won a Premier League, obviously a few years ago. They've been in Europe. They've been in the Champions League, so obviously winning the league. Last year, they bottled it. They really bottled it to get top 4. And this year, they might actually do it. And I just think, Jesus Christ, and this is why I say to people, it's not about spending so much money, because Leicester haven't actually spent a lot of money on players. They've just bought the right players. I remember how many times we were linked with that Soyuncu. I can't remember how you say his name, the Turkish international. We were linked with him. That other guy, when we got Unai Emery, is it Dennis Praet or something like that? We were looking into him as well. Obviously, Jamie Vardy, we tried to buy him. He said no to us. I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't want him to go in that attitude. Oh, it's okay. We're in the Europa League. Let's not give a shit about the Premiership. That's the thing that worries me.
Yeah. So, of course, we just covered the whole Benfica game and that. We obviously know that we have got Olympiacos in the next round. Luckily, we got a kind of week off because we play Leicester tomorrow. We got a no game in the midweek, and then we got Burnley on. I think it's on the next Saturday, and then the Olympiacos game, first leg during the week. So, Olympiacos, can we get by that one, mate? Just before we move into the comments and that.
I mean, don't get wrong. I don't watch Greek football and everything, but because obviously I've got my family who's in Cyprus and everything, they tell me what's going on and stuff. Pretty much Olympiacos win the league all the time, but it's such a corrupt league, so I wouldn't take it as a yardstick for them that they're going to beat us just because they win their title all the time. And to be honest, yeah, they do have a European pedigree in terms of actually going into Champions League. Europa League. But most of the time, Brandon, they get knocked out in, like, especially in the Champions League. It'll probably be the group stages, and usually they don't. If they go further in the Champions League, they get knocked out the last 16. And in the Europa League, it's the same thing. I mean, look at them last year. They beat us. They went up against Wolves, didn't they? And they lost. I think we can beat them. They're nothing. They're not special. They're, in my opinion, anyway. I think we can do it. I mean, they've got a few dangerous players and everything. Oh, of course, we'll be seeing our mate Socrates as well. um, do you know what? I actually thought people were harsh about Socrates because he's an old school defender. He's not one of these like who's going to be like David Luiz, holding up the ball and quite a creative centre back. I thought people were harsh. He's just an old school defender because when he was at Dortmund, people loved him there. And when we got him, his first season with Unai Emery was pretty decent until it wasn't, obviously. No, I think we'll beat them. And is it actually confirmed? Will we actually be playing them in their stadium as well as the Emirates, or is it going to be neutral stadiums then?
I don't know. That's a damn good question, that one. Because they're Greece, so I would have thought that coronavirus restrictions wouldn't mean that we'd have to play in neutral stadiums. So I would say that it will be a home tie at the Emirates, and then of course at their stadium as well. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I kind of feel like it's kind of good in a way that we got Olympiacos, because maybe it might give these players a little bit of a kick up the arse to say, right, we've got to get revenge for last season. We have to get revenge for last season and right some of the wrongs. But I don't know. They're a decent side, Olympiacos, and I've said it many and many, many, many times. It all depends what Arsenal turn up. If we turn up and we're on the top of our game, we'll slap these lot. If we don't, and we walk around like lethargic and slow like we did against Benfica, we'll get destroyed. We'll get destroyed. It all comes down to how much do these players want it. That's what it comes down to.
I was going to ask you about it because I've heard this a lot from other YouTubers that talk about obviously Arsenal and stuff. And some of them say to me that they remember last year that Olympiacos actually were the better team. I don't remember that, to be honest. I thought the first leg, maybe it was even, but we did a good enough job to get the away goal and then take it back. It's the Emirates game that I thought we were, again, lethargic. And I thought it was so arrogant from Arsenal. Don't worry, we'll open these up. And it's only until they scored their first goal from a set piece, and then again with a set piece, when they scored it to make it 1-0 at the Emirates, that's when you saw Arsenal actually thought, fuck, we need to obviously show a bit more like effort. And then obviously you got it back to 1-1, so 2-1 on aggregate. Then they made it 2-2 on aggregate, and that was it. Aubameyang missed that opportunity. But we shouldn't be relying on last-minute winner by Aubameyang against Olympiacos. We should, like I said, Greek football's not that great. It really isn't. I mean, the last 10 years, I think they've only lost the title once. It really is simple for them to win it. And, I mean, the only thing that's good for them is the fact they can rest players in their league games and then obviously be ready for Arsenal. I suppose you could say maybe Arteta can switch it around or anything. But, no, I would rather face Olympiacos than, like, obviously United got AC Milan. And even Tottenham have got Dynamo Zagreb. I don't think that will be easy for Tottenham, especially in Croatia, if they are actually playing in Croatia. So I actually think we got a pretty good draw compared to other teams.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
To be honest, the one team I was thinking it would have been actually funny to watch how Arteta was going to do it was against Villarreal with Unai Emery. But I think he'll be all right. And how do you feel about Leicester? I was going to ask you that as well. What do you think tomorrow?
We will get into that in just a second. I'm gonna run through a few of these comments and that. Guys, you're gonna have to bear with me because I do keep turning my camera and my mic off. But the reason for that is I've got my dinner sat next to me, so I'm trying to eat that at the same time. But there you go.
Yeah, no problem.
We've got Jamie in the chat. How are we doing, Jamie? He says, I'm not backing us, to be honest. I can't see. I can see us getting spanked. We got Leo in the chat as well. How are we doing, Leo? I don't think a win tomorrow is going to happen. Leicester got embarrassed Thursday. They are going to come out wanting to bounce back against us, and I'm going for a Leicester win. We got Matthew, who's a Man City fan, in the chat, says, big up Brandon and Tom. Big up yourself, Matthew. We got Alexander, who says, hello, Brandon and Tom. Hope you guys are doing well. Leo again says, in the papers today, Bellerin could be leaving in the summer. If that does happen, it would be incredible. Do you think he will leave in the summer, or do you think he's here to stay?
The only reason I think he would stay is because Arteta seems to really like him. That's the only thing that kind of makes me think he'll keep him. But then and again, I think he's one of probably our biggest assets, because he's one of the only ones who's probably got a long-term contract as well. So maybe I mean, again, what I don't get with him and Arteta is the fact that he'll keep playing Bellerin, and then he'll get rid of what's his name, Maitland-Niles, to go to on loan to West Brom and everything. But I don't even think they're on different levels. I think Maitland-Niles is probably better than him in some cases as a right back. And I know he's had the case that he doesn't want to play there and everything, but I've got to say, if someone gives you a chance to be a first team from Arsenal, I don't care what position it is, to be honest. I would rather see him go, because I think we can invest the money into someone decent. And to be honest, it's because what I'm worried about, the club will use the COVID again as an excuse for not buying certain players. So if that's the case, I want to see Arteta actually use his brain and see, let him work with a budget. Let's see what he can do,
Well, I've got an interesting one here from Leo, who says, a lot of stuff coming from the club saying they don't have the funds for the summer. Under £50 million for sure, with Saliba, Torreira and Guendouzi back in the summer. Do we sell or keep them? You got to keep Saliba, I feel. Torreira and Guendouzi, I'm not so sure. I mean, Guendouzi, he seems to be having, he was having a pretty decent start to the season in the German league. And then since they sacked their manager, he's got attitude problems again. So I don't feel like Guendouzi will get back in the team. And Torreira, I think his heart's elsewhere. I don't think he's happy in England. I think he wants to go back to Italy. So maybe he'll get sold as well. What do you think of that, Tom?
I think the Torreira thing, when he first got signed, I actually liked the look of him, to be honest. I thought this is what we've needed. Someone with a bit of bite in the middle who could look after the back four. Sometimes he could pop up and score a goal as well. And it was just someone we needed. And he just looked like I thought at first he was enjoying himself. He was really getting into it. And I think one of the turning points for me, I started to really like him, was that Spurs game when we beat them 4-2 and he scored in it with Unai Emery as our manager. And then the second season under Unai Emery, if you remember, he started playing Torreira as a number 10, which didn't make any sense. And I don't really blame, obviously, Torreira for that. You get asked to do a job by your manager. I suppose you're not going to moan. You're just going to keep trying your best to do it. And I agree with you. All I keep hearing every time you hear about him on the news and everything, he's not happy. He's not happy. He's homesick. So it's a bit like, do you remember when we had Jose Antonio Reyes? Exactly the same thing. I'm homesick. I just think, well, if you're going to be like that, you might as well go. It's just sad because he was 20-odd million, 25 million. He wasn't actually expensive. I thought if he carried on the way he was going when he first joined the club, we could have made some money out of him. But now I don't think so. Guendouzi thing, I was going to ask you about that, because I understand why Arteta didn't like the attitude against Brighton. But then there's certain Arsenal fans that thought, yeah, but we always moan we don't have leaders that could defend our teammates and, basically be physical with somebody else. And I know it was after the game. You'd probably say, why did you not do that during the game? But a lot of people actually like Guendouzi. I don't think I think he's a special talent, but I just don't think he's there yet to be that kind of attitude where he can demand certain things from certain clubs and everything. And I heard the same thing, that Bailey's had a shit attitude in Germany again. But I was going to ask you, what do you think of him? Be honest, like, do you think he will get sold?
Yeah, no, I like Guendouzi. I think he's, like you just said, I think he's a very special talent. He has the potential to become a very, very good player, a very useful player, especially in this Arsenal team. But his attitude seems to be letting him down. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Ravel Morrison,
Oh,
had
yeah.
all the talent, but his attitude just stunk. And he ended up, he could have made it to the top, that guy, but he ended up, playing down lower leagues and stuff like that because his attitude wasn't right. And you do find players that sometimes have all the talent in the world, but their attitude's just not there. And you have to have, it has to be 100% from on both aspects. Your attitude has to be spot on, and your talent as well, for you to make it. I mean, the best example of that is Bukayo Saka. His attitude and his quality is what makes him the player that he is right now. So yeah. We got Maria in the chat who says, so agree, guys. They need to pass the ball quickly. We've also got Amelia. Love the chat, guys. We need to strengthen our team on all aspects. We got Harry here who says, I think we'll get a positive result tomorrow. Good God, Harry. You are living in hope, mate. We've got Heaven Angel as well who says, big up, guys. MB in the chat as well. Big up yourself, MB, who says LT is homesick, as in Lucas Torreira. I'd keep him personally. As you see, with the party injuries, we have no real backup to fill in for him. And I thought he was decent. However, if he wants to leave, let's sell him. We've also got Jamie in the chat as well. Go to Notts County Twitter page. They have tweeted the spinning scorpion kick goal they scored today, stating it's the greatest goal you'll ever see. Might have to go check that out after this.
Fair enough.
And then just real quickly, last comment here from Heaven Angel says Guendouzi has a lot of potential. He should be in our midfield instead of Granit Xhaka.
Brandon, let me ask you. I know you're obviously not a fan of Mikel Arteta, but do you think that Unai Emery, for young players, he was actually a better manager for them? Because don't forget, it was Unai Emery that brought in Saka. It was Unai Emery that seemed to get the best out of Guendouzi, Martinelli, and that's the only thing that worries me with. Well, all right, obviously we didn't see Unai Emery with how he was going to deal with the whole Saliba situation, but with Arteta, I don't know what it is about him. It just seems like, apart from Saka, it just doesn't seem like he's the right guy with these young players. Some of them, I really don't know. Like,
I would agree. I look at it like this, right? Guardiola, he's not the type of person who really brings through young players. He's the type of person who knows what type of player he wants. But if he's missing an ingredient, he'll go out and buy a player, a top class player. You never see him really bring through young players through the academy. And going based off that and based off what Mikel Arteta has learnt at Man City, you'd probably say that Mikel Arteta is in a similar frame of mind to Guardiola, in the sense that, if he had the option there, bring through the young talent or go and buy a top class player, I think Arteta would go and buy the top class player. I think his man management skills are not that great either. I do think he's improved Saka. I do think he's helped Saka grow, and maybe Smith Rowe as well a little bit. But in terms of actually bringing through young talent, giving them opportunities in the team and stuff like that, yeah, certainly Unai Emery was a lot better at that than Arteta is, for sure.
You've actually got a good point, because people don't realize the whole thing of when Guardiola was Barcelona manager and he had obviously Xavi and Iniesta. He knew them from before because I'm sure he was like their youth team manager. So, all right, in a way, he did bring them up. But you're right, because after that, when he went to Bayern Munich, didn't really have time to bring in people through, I suppose. And obviously, like you said, at Man City, where you got all the money in the world, it's a bit like Chelsea in a way. Like they don't really bring people through. All right, maybe exception with like Mason Mount and Abraham and stuff like that, but they can bring a lot more.
Yeah, certainly. Moving on, Leicester, of course, on Saturday, and it's a tough game. We all know that it's going to be a tough game. Leicester flying high in the Premier League. Of course, they had a shock defeat midweek in the Europa League against Slavia Prague. I was quite surprised by that result. But, however, this is Premier League, and Leicester are flying high at the moment. Of course, we've got the league table here. As you can see, Arsenal currently down in 11th. However, that could change by the end of this evening because Wolves are playing against Newcastle. And if they get a win in that, of course, we'll drop down to 12th. Leicester level on points with Manchester United at the moment in third place. Yeah, they're doing exceptionally well in the league, whereas we've been exceptionally poor. And of course, they beat us in the reverse fixture earlier on in the season. And this actually shocked me here, right? Because if you look at that, the last time that we beat Leicester at their ground, other than in the League Cup, but in the Premier League, the last time we beat them at their ground was in 2015, which was the season that Leicester actually won the league and we did the double over them, and all the Arsenal fans were getting excited. So it's been a long time since we beat Leicester at their ground. And based off their vein of form and our vein of form, it doesn't look that great for us this for tomorrow's game. What do you reckon, mate?
I don't know, to be honest. I've got a feeling that they could beat us because I honestly don't think they were that bothered about Thursday night. I know they were missing. Someone said to me they were missing Madison, and what do you call him? I don't think even Harvey Barnes played and stuff like that. So I don't know if part of me thinks that they're actually just going for the top four rather than actually try and win a trophy. They seem to be a team that always do quite well against us, because they beat us obviously earlier this season with Jamie Vardy 1-0. Apparently, I didn't watch that game because I was working, but what I remember we actually started off quite well in the first half and created quite a lot of chances. But obviously, when you don't take your chances, you just leave yourselves exposed, and that's what they did. Because I think Jamie Vardy just made it to be fit, and he was on the bench, came on the last few minutes, and scored against us. And he always seems to score against us anyway. I have to be honest. I can see if we're going to get something out of it, I can see a draw, maybe 1-1. But even that, to me, is not good enough. Because I tell you what, mate, last week I was so annoyed with them because it was just, I called it cowardly. They were such cowards to pretend to actually make it sound like they were trying their best against Manchester City. So I want to see a proper performance. And like you said as well, Brandon, why don't go in there with a lethargic approach to the game? Let's just take the game to them. Let's actually see us play nice football for a change, rather than this whole like take touches, slow it down. It's like it doesn't work. And when last times we've actually been getting results, if you remember, like when this whole thing started, when we started winning games during December against Chelsea, we tore Chelsea apart because it was just fast, pacey football, you know. And yet, when we seem to have like one little hiccup, we still go back to the old lethargic pass, no cutting edge. I don't know. I feel like I said, if we get a draw, it's not great, but I suppose not a defeat. But I don't know. I could see them taking this more seriously than the Europa League. That's what worries me, to be honest.
Well, before we get into any predictions, I want to get your starting 11 because, of course, we played a very strong team on Thursday. Where we had to travel out to Greece. We didn't come back till Thursday evening, I don't think, maybe even Friday morning. So we've not had a lot of time to recover from that game. Bukayo Saka's been playing an awful lot of football as well. Do we throw our eggs into the Europa League basket? Because if we're being real, we ain't getting top four this season. You know, we could probably we're basically playing for pride in the Premier League, and do we rest players for this game, or do we go again with another strong lineup? What do you reckon?
I can't see where anything wrong with like mix and match. Let's be honest, Brandon. Like apart from like Saka, uh, maybe not even maybe Aubameyang. When you take one player, so let's say you take out Bellerin and you put in Cedric, is it really a dip in quality? So you can't really. I can't see why he can't make these changes, and I hope he does make them because I agree with you. I think maybe give Saka a break, maybe put him on the bench if you need him, bring him on because that's the only thing that worries me with Arteta. Will he burn this kid out? And that's the one of the worrying things.
Hmm.
Um,
What would be your team lineup for the
right, let's
game?
go for it. So obviously in goal we got Bert Leno. Just might as well carry on playing him. Right back, Cedric. I would still play Kieran Tierney just because he's only just come back. Let's give him a few more minutes to try and get him back into match sharpness and everything. Centre backs. I would go with Gabriel and Pablo Mari. I don't. Why not? You know, let's probably just give David Luiz a rest. He is in his 30s now and everything. As they say that that's old age for players and all that shit. In the midfield pivot, that's the like a part of me wants to say let's put Thomas Partey in, but then what worries me? What if he gets injured and we can't use him in the Europa League? Maybe I'll go for the Granit Xhaka Ceballos thing because I just don't like when El Neni and Xhaka played when they played together. I mean, look at last week. What did we create with those guys? You know, I mean, then again with Ceballos sometimes it's hit and miss. So them two as a pivot. On the left hand side, I I think it's time to give Martinelli a game. Why should he not play? In the middle, play Martin Odegaard. I mean, we've only got him for a few months. Why not just carry on playing him? On the right hand side, it's a toss up between Willian and Pepe, just because we take out Saka and give him a rest. I'm going to go with Pepe because let's be honest, Willian, okay, he did well the other night, but let's not go overboard about him. Let Pepe come back in, and up front, I would play Aubameyang. Let him keep scoring. Hopefully, if he does, obviously, and that's my starting 11 personally. Because I think you can mix and match. Because like I said, we're playing for pride. I get that, but I still think we can win even with that team. You know, like I said, when we lose our players, maybe like a Thomas Partey compared to our other midfield, that's a big dip in quality, like losing a lot of quality there. But the rest of them, they all like seem to be on the same kind of level, to be honest. So I don't know what you think of that.
Okay. I would reap the changes. I would change a hell of a lot. In fact,
Wow.
I would give Bernd Leno a rest, and I would put in Matt Ryan. I would go with Cedric at right back, like you said. I'd probably go with a centre back pairing of Holding and Pablo Mari.
Sorry, is he back
Kieran,
though? That's it. With Holding, he's got concussion. I don't know if he's allowed to play though, or will he be
he
alright?
may well be. If not, then it would have to be probably. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it'd probably have to be David Luiz and Gabriel or something like that. I agree with you on Kieran Tierney as well. I think I think we need to get him some match fitness, so I'd definitely play him. Um, your midfield pivot, I'd probably agree with you again. You know, Granit Xhaka and Danny Ceballos. Although you could switch it about a bit and play Martin Odegaard in the number 8 role, and then play possibly Willian in the 10. And go at it like that. So yeah, I'll probably go Xhaka and Odegaard in the number 6 and the number 8 role, and then Willian in the 10, Martinelli on the right, Pepe on the left, and then Lacazette up top. That's how I would start this game, I think. And then leave the likes of Aubameyang, Partey, all them lot on the bench. Try and play it a little bit tactically different. Maybe try and keep it tight, and then leave it till if it is still 0-0 within like the last 20 minutes to go, then you could probably chuck on a Saka and an Aubameyang to see if you can try and get a goal. I'd probably try and look at it like that, and make a few changes at the same time, keep the fresh legs for the Europa League. So, don't know. It just I can't see Arteta doing it personally. I do feel like he will play Saka again. I do feel like he will play Aubameyang again, because he has to rely upon these guys, because these guys are the only ones that are really carrying the team at the moment, especially Saka. And without him in the squad or even in the starting 11, we're very lackluster. And if we're very lackluster again tomorrow, we could get battered by Leicester. I know they're missing James Maddison, but that don't really make a difference, really. They've got Harvey Barnes, they've got Jamie Vardy, they've got Tielemans, Ndidi. I'd be interested to see if Thomas Partey did start, the matchup between him and Ndidi, and see what it'd be like. Who would come out on top, because I think they're both brilliant, exceptional players. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I'm not confident, to say the least, but at the same time, I'm not really bothered, because I don't feel like it's going to change our season. The Europa League for me is where we need to be concentrating on. But there you go. What's your prediction?
Said earlier, I think 1-1. I mean, who knows? Like, again, it's like what you said, Brandon, at the beginning of this whole thing. Whichever Arsenal team show up, like, you know how back in the days when we were, like, obviously top dogs and everything, you could always kind of, like, predict it and be positive to at least see a good performance and try their best. And you can trust that team not to let you down as many times as this. You can't trust this Arsenal team at all, no matter what it is. I mean, look at against Benfica was exactly like what we're saying. Like, they're not even that good, and yet we made it so much like hard work that we didn't have to make it like that. Like I said, I'm going for a 1-1 because I don't think it will be easy, and I think they've got their eye on the Champions League position.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm gonna go. Oh, do I? Don't I? It's a tough one. I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal.
You're positive. Well,
I'm gonna
I
go
don't know if
2-1
that's
Arsenal. I don't know why. I've just got this little feeling that that something's going to happen in this game. I've got this feeling that Leicester and them going out of the Europa League might have a slight effect on them. I do think we'll start very pragmatic against them and try and hit them on the counter. It's just Jamie Vardy worries me massively, because if he gets in behind, you ain't catching that guy. You know what I mean?
I've got to be honest. He was probably, a few years ago when we put a £30 million bid for him. I was really excited. Do you imagine him during the time when we had Ozil, who was kind of on a K performance level, and he would have had Alexis Sanchez around him. They would have been relentless together, to be fair. But obviously he said no because he wanted to play in the Champions League with Leicester, which fair enough. There isn't much loyalty in football, so give him credit for that. But I've
He
got a
probably
question
made the
for
right
you.
decision as well.
Well, in a way, yeah. Let's be honest. I mean, another question I'm going to ask you: what do you? Because again, he is another guy that divides Arsenal fans' opinion. Brendan Rodgers, do you rate him, or do you think he's not as good as people make him out to be? The reason why I'm asking this because look what's happened to Celtic since Neil Lennon's been in charge. It's
Mm.
atrocious,
Yeah, no,
really.
I do think that Brendan Rodgers is a good manager. Do I think he's as good as what some people make out? Probably not. I think what helps him so much at Leicester is the fact that their recruitment is absolutely bob on. You know, their players, they'll sell like the likes of Harry Maguire and who else went for God knows how much, Chilwell as well,
Mm.
for 50 and 80 million pound, and then they've replaced them with players like Fofana, who came for, I think he was like 16 million pound, maybe not even that. And then I can't remember the other guy's name either, but he was cheap as well. And they both them players look just as good, if not better, than the two players that they sold. Their recruitment system is absolutely exceptional, and I think that helps Brendan Rodgers in a way. But I do think he's a decent manager with a decent style of play and philosophy and stuff like that. I just think he's kind of like a Pochettino in a way, because Pochettino, again, he had a very good style of play, a good way of playing football and stuff like that. But when it comes to them big moments, and you you know, it doesn't quite have it. You know, he tends to bottle it, and Brendan Rodgers does the same thing as well. So I don't know. He's a good
Well,
manager, but he's not that spectacular manager, really. You know what I mean?
so you wouldn't have him at Arsenal?
Oh, I'll take him at Arsenal over Arteta all day long. Um, but if you had to say to me, for example, would I take Brendan Rodgers or would I take Allegri? I'd probably take Allegri.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's certainly up there. You know, I probably would take him at Arsenal, considering the situation we're in. Let's not forget as well, before he managed Liverpool, um, he was also Swansea manager, and he did a very good job there as well on a low budget. He's the type of guy who can get the best out of certain players as well. So yeah, I probably would take him at Arsenal in the current state of affairs, but yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough. No, I just wanted to ask because obviously people have got so many different opinions, you know. I remember when we got Unai Emery, people were like, a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, well, it's not actually that different to Brendan Rodgers. I was like, well, not really, because at least Unai Emery's actually won three Europa Leagues in a row. And people think, I think we do act like snobs towards the trophy, but I would love to win a trophy and get in the Champions League that way, because at least you've got something to show off at the end of the season. But you know what? If by miracle we do win it, I just can't imagine us even lasting even in the group stage, especially if we got like a group like Man United had this year with PSG and Leipzig and I think it was a Turkish team, Istanbul. And look, they went out into the Europa League. I that could happen to us easily, get battered in that kind of group. So if we did by miracle get in the Champions League, we will need to be very lucky within the group draw, definitely.
Could you imagine us against Bayern Munich again? You know, forget about 5-1. It'd be something stupid like 21 or something like
Mate,
that.
if you remember rightly, like for years, every time we got in the last 16, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and I think one time when we were happy, we got Monaco, and we still fucked that up as well.
Yeah,
Fuck me,
yeah.
man. This club in Europe is really bad. Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's not great. It's not great. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. And firstly, big up to you, Tom, for jumping on the channel. Guys,
no,
listen,
thank you very
Tom's
much.
channel link is in the description. Make sure you go and check out Tom and give him a subscribe as well. You'll be hearing probably a lot more from Tom, because I'll be going over to his channel and we'll be doing a weekly thing as well. And of course, Tom will be coming on here as well. Big up to everybody in the chat as well, and make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And one thing left to say, mate, come on, you Gunners. Hope we
Come
can
on, you
get a win.
Gunners. Yeah, we'll wait and see.